So now we're going to talk about the 10 tips to success in business. Tip number 1, managing up, managing down, and managing across. Managing up is making sure your manager, your supervisor, knows the incredible job that you're doing, but also connecting with them on a personal basis. Managing down, also really important, because over time, you're given a team. And now when we interview people, it's really important that they can manage a team. But equally as important is managing across. So what managing across is managing your peers. Managing across is the toughest, because managing down, you've got that sort of vested authority. Managing up, people sort of expect it and it comes naturally. But getting things done, when it's not necessarily somebody else's best interest to get it done, they are helping you, that is a true skill. So manage up, manage down, manage across. Even if you're doing it in a volunteer environment, it's a great learning ground. Tip 2, the power of questioning. I'm a terrible golfer, but I remember the analogy someone telling me about where you hit a golf ball, and if you're off by 1/8 of an inch, even though you're off 1/8 of an inch right over here, as it progresses over time, it goes out and out and out, and all of a sudden, like all of my balls, they're all the way on the right side. So I've got all of that effort and I've blown it because I've gone in the wrong direction. What I do is I encourage people who work with me to question me. So if I give somebody an assignment, I completely understand in my own head what the client wants or what I want. But sometimes in the busyness of life, or the fact that I understand it in my own head, I don't do an ideal job in explaining what the real task is. If somebody goes off and wastes 3 hours, 3 days doing a project and answering the wrong question, and then they come back and they say, "I'm so proud, here it is," and I look at them and I go, like, what did you do? You've completely wasted 3 days. For me, that's the worst thing in the world. What I value is, if you truly don't understand right away what I'm talking about or what I'm asking, then question me. And we even apply that to our clients. So we always go back to the goal and what do you really want to accomplish? Because often clients go, can you do this? Can you do this project? And sometimes the project they're asking you to do, you can do and you can do well, but it's not the best way to accomplish what they're really trying to get to. So it's not just about you and your boss and assignments, it's also about how you manage your clients. It's the power of questioning. Tip number 3, all for one and one for all. It's about understanding that you can't accomplish everything on your own. Ask yourself, who is the you and what winning really means? The NASA experiment is actually even more revealing because I've done it with thousands of people and I'm always nervous it's not going to work. And without getting you into the minutia of the NASA experiments, it's actually something that NASA actually used sort of first day with some astronauts way back when. You've landed on the moon and you've crashed. You're 200 miles away from the mothership and you've got 15 items that survived and you've got to get to the mothership and you've got to rank order from the 15 items, what's the most important thing, second, third, fourth, all the way to 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th that you don't really want to bring along. And you do it as an individual. And then you've got the exact same exercise and you do it as a group. And as a group, you're discussing what the right answer is. So as I said, I've done this with thousands of people and I'm nervous every time, but the group score versus the average of all the individual scores, the group always wins. And the lesson is very simple. As smart as you are in a given area, if you involve more people and you have a diversity of experiences attacking a problem, you're always going to come up with a better solution. Tip number 4. It sounds very prosaic, really simple. Great attitude. Now you've all worked with people that are smiley and you've all worked with people who are grumpy. And I'm not talking about on a given day, I'm talking about as a general personality trait. You have to have a positive attitude when you go to work because people like working with nice people. In order to do all of that, managing across, managing down, and managing up, it's really about the attitude that you bring to the environment. If you're the one who's volunteering, if you're the one who goes the extra mile, you're the one that's ultimately going to benefit from a career perspective as an individual. Tip number 5, pride of ownership. I shake my head when I say pride of ownership, because so many times I actually see work and I give it back to people and I say, can you actually look me in the eye and tell me you're proud of what you just handed to me? And I'm not talking about making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm talking about sloppiness. You've got to have a self-pride to make sure that everything you're doing is as great as it can be. If you don't have that pride and it's not in your gut, your supervisors, your managers are going to notice it. And they are looking for people who've basically proud of the work that they've done. Tip number 6, doing your homework. When I got my first job at Cineplex, I can still remember it today. I got a phone call on the Friday afternoon, and they said, you're being interviewed by the CEO and the head of marketing on Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I quickly called my wife and I said, I'm not coming for dinner, I'm going to the library. And I went to the library and I was in the Microfiche, that's how long ago it was, all day Friday night, or all night Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday, reading about the company, the public documents, the articles, everything. And I still remember in that first interview with 2 of them sitting in front of me, sort of being prepared to be grilled. And the second question they asked me is, they say, so what do you know about Cineplex? And my answer is, because I was a cocky kid at the time, I said, absolutely everything. And they looked at me and they laughed and they said, what do you mean absolutely everything? I said, because I spent the entire weekend in the library. I don't know everything about the company because I'm not inside, but I've actually read every single article ever written about the company. Now, I'm not saying that that was the only reason that they hired me, but I'm pretty sure it played into why they chose me over other candidates, because I was really young compared to the other candidates that they were looking for. So doing your homework and going the extra mile is really one of the keys to success. Well, tip number 7 is doing your homework isn't enough. So what are managers looking for when you do your homework? What are clients looking for when you do your homework? What they're really looking for is the reading of the tea leaves. Lots of information out there, and we live in a world where people are inundated with data, and the real question is, now what? So having lots of information and facts and just saying, well, here's the facts, that's not going to get you anywhere with your client. What your client is looking for, what your manager is looking for, is thinking, strategic thinking. It's making the links. It's reading the tea leaves. So even though doing your homework is really important, don't go to sleep yet. You've got another task, which is reading the tea leaves. Tip number 8, presentation skills. Presentation skills are absolutely crucial in a corporate job for most roles, particularly if you want to progress in a corporation. You have to have written skills. You have to be able to write to a client. And it's not just the type of documents that I'm mentioning now. The whole presentation skills goes and transfers to PowerPoint presentations, which is a whole other art of presentation. PowerPoints are great tools and aids, but can't have too many words. You got to get to the point, have the right headlines, have to have the right spacing. There's a whole art to how to do a PowerPoint presentation effectively. The final piece of presentation skills is what I'm pretending and trying to do now. It's oral presentation skills. You've got to be able to speak with passion and conviction in front of your clients when you're presenting. You have to be able to tell a story. You have to be able to connect the dots, and you have to do it in an engaging way. It's really great to do a great job, but you have to be able to present it. Tip number 9, multitasking. So here's the reality. I mean, I've done the law school, business school thing, and you've all gone to school and you know the scenario, right? You got 5 courses. Some you got to read books for, some you're doing a project, there's some finals, you got your 12 weeks, life is easy, you can cram at the end. That is not the life in a corporation. That is not the life in an agency. Clients today, more than ever before, we live in the email, text messaging, instant gratification world where everybody wants it now. If you're not a multitasker, then reach out to somebody who is a great multitasker and say, how do you juggle all of those balls at the same time and not drop any of them? Tip number 10, personal favorite of Howard's. Okay, Howard, in tip number 9, you told me I've got to learn how to multitask. Give me one little tip on how I can multitask. It's time management. But it's more than just time management, it's time management and prioritization. This is something I've learned when I was younger, earlier on in my career, and today you could ask my staff. I do this absolutely every single day. I will not take a meeting in the office. I will not take a phone call until I utilize my time management tool. It's called the laws of A, B, and C. I've got a pile of everything that's got to get done and it's in a file folder. The point is, absolutely every single morning, I go through all of the tasks that I have to do, and I go, is this an A, is this a B, or is this a C? And I rank order them. Because the reality is there's never enough hours in the day to get through that entire pile. The problem is, and what I see lots of people doing is, they come in, they put in a full day, they're completely exhausted, they may even be staying later than everybody else, boss still not happy. Why? Because they spent their entire day doing a B and the C, and what the boss really needed, or what the client really needed, was the A. Wouldn't happen if you followed the simple procedure of A, B, and C. And you've got to do it on a daily basis, because the B's on Monday may become an A on the Tuesday or Wednesday, because life changes. And sometimes those B's and C's, some of them disappear and new ones come about. So the time management skill of actually prioritizing and know what's the most important things to do first is one of the ways I live with the challenge of multitasking. So I hope you've enjoyed my 10 tips. There's obviously lots more that one can give from a tip perspective. I wish you all of the success, and I hope that the 10 tips have been helpful.
CMA Next. Find your path, find what's next.